to analyse and indeed reflect on an eventful night we have. In the blue corner, Alan Brazil representing Ipswich Town, and good to welcome back to these parts Brian Gunn, who's come down here to see a few old friends, no doubt. Brian, before we get on with the action, just remind us, things haven't quite gone that well for you back up north.
No, that's right. I think within the first week of training and signing my new contract, I broke my leg, and it was the same leg I broke 3.5 years ago, so things are just taking a little bit longer to heal there, and I've played a few behind closed-door friendlies, but nothing to shout home about yet.
OK, don't want to rub it in, but Al, I think the last time you two guys worked together on a local derby at Portman Road, you were calling the shots, and it was the infamous moment. Remember that?
Yeah, I think that's a bit unfair on Brian. You know, he's got problems with his leg out injured, and you have to bring it up out of order. OK, well, let's get rid of that one then and move on. Starting with the match, which really needs little introduction, of course. Tickets for tonight's big local derby sold out well in advance. So a capacity 22,500 were at Portman Road, joined by more than 2,000 Norwich fans watching a special live feed of the game back at Carrow Road. It's Ipswich against Norwich City. Your commentator is Tony Jones.
David Johnson has recaptured the scoring touch which produced 30 goals last season. He's now got 5 in his last 6 games, and his budgeting partnership with James Scowcroft is one of the reasons Alex Matthew was sold to Dundee United. Ipswich have won their last 3 games without conceding a goal and stick with the 11 who started Saturday's 1-0 win over Swindon. Hard on Manu Tidis, who is available again after suspension, but Tony Mowbray is a dependable partner for Mark Venus at the back. Kieran Dyer hasn't been risked in midfield because he's still troubled by a hamstring injury. Paulo Venazza gets another chance, even though Jonathan Hunt arrived on loan yesterday from Derby. Hunt starts on the substitutes bench. Johnson and Scowcroft are the 2 up front. Norwich were hammered 5-1 by Crystal Palace on Saturday, and they're short of a bit of clout in defence with Malky Mackay suspended and both Matt Jackson and Kevin Scott injured. Manager Bruce Rioch says he hopes Saturday's result was a one-off, but changes have been made. Daryl Such is out and Victor Segura returns to defence. Adrian Forbes starts again for the first time this season because Peter Grant hasn't shaken off a calf strain, which was aggravated early in the first half at Sellers Park. Ewan Roberts partners Craig Bellamy in attack. Much will be expected of Bellamy, who rose to the occasion when scoring the winner for Wales in their European Championship qualifier in Denmark last week. This is his first derby appearance at Portman Road. Last season he was suspended. Tonight's referee is John Kirkby from Sheffield. Just listen to that noise. There's nothing quite like Derby Day, and forget current league form, there's always huge expectation in both camps. Norwich will certainly want to guard against a repeat of last season, when they conceded a goal after just 69 seconds and then slumped to a 5-0 defeat. Here's Bellamy. Now Kenton. Pass was overhead. It was neither aimed at Forbes or Ewan Roberts. But there could be a chance here for Norwich. Venus's clearance was picked up by Jed Brannan. And there was a bit of indecision at the back then by Jamie Clapham. Here's Venazza. Holland, who was then barged in the chest by Lee Marshall. Stockwell. Now Tarika. Here's Petter, who's switched across to the right. And he was dispossessed by Jed Brannan. Norwich throw. Johnson got a fairly hefty shove in the back there from Victor Segura. So important that Segura imposes himself, though. Segura miscued then, and here's Johnson. Real escape for Norwich City. Segura tried to be positive. He tried to get in first, but he didn't succeed. He only set up Mickey Stockwell. His drive was blocked by Kenton, and the shot from Johnson angled across the face of goal with Scowcroft coming in. There was a lucky break for Ipswich, not once but twice, and that was an inviting chance for David Johnson. Here's Scowcroft. There's only the glimmer of a chance then for James Scowcroft, but he's very menacing in the air. Ball sat up for him when it came down. Didn't really have a good side of goal, and it was Segura who just stretched across him. Forward by Kenton. Mowbray's clearance only as far as Lee Marshall, and it's Marshall again now as Norwich begin to press forward. Fugelstad searches out Eadie. Fugelstad again. Eadie trying to get in behind Tarico, and he's succeeded. That's an excellent cross, and Roberts has missed from 2 yards out. Ewan Roberts prostrate on the goal line. John Kirby immediately calls across for Tim Shepherd to come on and administer to the Norwich City striker. But that was a golden opportunity for Norwich. Fugelstad with the ball in between Mowbray and Tarico. It was a terrific cross from Eadie. Roberts, who was arriving and who couldn't angle his header on target. It seemed harder to miss than to score then. But he did hurt his left knee as he came charging in. He may well have clipped the post as well. Contingency plans already being discussed. Big game for the players, big game for the referee too, and John Kirkby is one of the most experienced. And Roberts is back on for Norwich. The atmosphere had suddenly become very tense, but that effort by Ewan Roberts has suddenly brought Portman Road back to life. And it's given Norwich a bit of confidence now to attack this Ipswich back line. Ewan Roberts, who once scored 3 goals for Wolverhampton Wanderers in a Black Country derby against West Bromwich Albion. Roberts again nearly getting in there behind Venus, and eventually it was the header from Darren Eadie which was collected by Richard Wright. High and hopeful clearance. Venus a bit too casual, and it almost came to Eadie too quickly. Push on Scowcroft. Ipswich trying once more to increase the tempo. Here's Johnson. Now Venazza. Holland, who's been able to pull away from Lee Marshall. Terrific effort by Matt Holland and a wonderful save by Andy Marshall. And no wonder he's angry with the players in front of him. Holland just brushed aside Lee Marshall, and it was a good job for Norwich that Andy Marshall was there to save them. Mowbray has been pushed forward. Stockwell was making a late run. Norwich have a chance to regroup at the back. Here's Petter, he's away from Brannan. Roberts back to cover in his own penalty area. Here's Fugelstad, still Norwich struggling to get the ball away. Venus now. Diagonal pass to search out Bobby Petter, and Jed Brannan, who was back to cover. Here's Roberts. He's turned away from Venus, and he's put Craig Bellamy through. It's Bellamy against Richard Wright. And although Bellamy beat right, he couldn't find the bottom corner. So often this season, Craig Bellamy has been in that position for Norwich City, and he's found the target or scored, this time after excellent work by Ewan Roberts. He cut his shot across the face of goal and wide of the post. Roberts strong and determined. It was a fine pass. Clapham had started the chase, and I don't think Craig Bellamy realised then how much time he got. Here's Tarico. Johnson and Scowcroft. Shot was high and wide, but Johnson had been pushing and pulling as he went for the through ball. Tarico searched him out, and there was a hefty clout for Victor Segura from David Johnson there. Here's Edie. Now Fuglestad. Edie gets a second chance. It's not a bad cross either. Mowbray is solid as ever at the back for Ipswich. The end of a lively first half. First half of few chances, but there were one or two, most notably one for Matt Holland, which really stretched Andy Marshall in the Norwich goal. There was a good save by Marshall. Norwich will point to a miss by Ewan Roberts, and also one just before the interval by Craig Bellamy when he was clean through on goal and bearing down on Richard Wright. But it's all square at half-time at Portman Road. It's Ipswich Town 0, Norwich City 0. Second half underway. Norwich will be happier with their first half efforts. They closed the game down, denied Ipswich the space they normally thrive on, and they created the better clear-cut openings. Here's Johnson. Stockwell had also broken forward, and Scowcroft has won the throw off Darren Eadie, who was tracking back then. James Scowcroft, who together with David Johnson have scored 14 goals for Ipswich this season. They've got 7 apiece. Johnson with a long throw also in his armoury. Mowbray arriving. Chance for Vanatza. Didn't get hold of the shot. And Victor Segura with the rash attempt to clear only succeeds in slicing the ball out for a corner. It's a tactic which Ipswich often use at set pieces, with Mowbray coming forward, and that was going wide. Header across the face of goal by Scowcroft. Mowbray also frustrated as he came running in. Ipswich have another corner. Unnecessary pressure for the Norwich defence to absorb. All started when Vanatza's shot was turned aside by Segura. Here's Clapham. Now Brannan. Scowcroft, who had ducked underneath Victor Segura then. Segura tried to be positive, but he was nowhere near the header. Venus across to take the free kick, aimed in towards Scowcroft, and it's Segura who gets a foot to the ball. Or was it Fleming? Norwich very nearly caught out of the back then. There's a late run by Mickey Stockwell, who came in behind Scowcroft, which very nearly proved their undoing. Johnson with another long throw. Brannan with a header clear. Tarico's drive. Kenton, who eventually got the ball away. And Venus, who sends another shot sizzling over the top. It was a good 30 yards out then, Mark Venus. Really let fly. Nobody in a position to close him down. Brannan, who slid in then to get the ball away from Johnson. Tidy work by Kenton, who looks far more comfortable at fullback. There's Brannan. Now Eadie. Fuglestad also forward to offer some support. And here is Eric Fuglestad. Roberts arriving at the near post, and Bellamy has put Norwich City ahead. Craig Bellamy, who at the moment, it seems, can do no wrong, is across to greet the Norwich City supporters on the far side after putting his side ahead after 6 minutes of the second half. Look at me, I'm number 8 and I'm Craig Bellamy, he says. Terrific break by Norwich, exceptional cross by Fuglestad, and Bellamy, who was brave and positive with a run to the near post. Roberts had made his run ahead of him, but nobody was going to catch Craig Bellamy then. That was a terrific goal for Norwich City. Wright just able to get a hand to the ball, but Norwich City are in front. And Portman Road is really alive here as Johnson goes through and drags his shot wide. Not for the first time tonight. David Johnson frustrated after good work by Bobby Petter. Teasing run from Petter. Snapshot from Johnson, which was wide. David Johnson with 7 goals so far this season. He does get an incredible number of chances in games. And an exchange of blows then between Roberts and Venus. How will John Kirkby, the referee, sort this one out? Decides to have a quiet word with both. Johnson, who tried to get in behind Fleming, and there's some concern about Victor Segura here. Johnson and Fleming unaware of the drama which was going on then. Segura looks very uncomfortable. Segura taken straight to the dressing room. Neil Adams is now on for Norwich. And Tim Shepherd, the physio, is accompanying him down to the dressing room area. Scowcroft and Johnson on the goal line. Venus has been pushed forward. Holland and Mowbray, the two on the edge of the penalty area, now making their runs. And Scowcroft's header was back off the post. Wasn't a particularly good angle for James Scowcroft then. And there's a chance here for Darren Eadie. Good block by Richard Wright. An escape for Ipswich just seconds after they rattled the post at the other end from the corner. Eadie, who's got such great pace, who was clean through that on Richard Wright. Wright, who was out equally quickly, and it was a good block by the goalkeeper. Just did enough to get the ball clear. This was the effort from Scowcroft, which thudded the outside of the post. Came off Scowcroft that for a Norwich throw. Neil Adams is operating wide on the right now for Norwich, with Darryl Such and Jed Brannan, the two in the centre of midfield. Darren Eadie wide on the left. Here's Bellamy. Eadie has made a run into the penalty area if Bellamy can find him. Tarico's clearance. Lee Marshall's miscued header, which has set up David Johnson. Wasn't a bad effort from David Johnson. Norwich caught out there. Marshall tried to be positive and get there ahead of Scowcroft. Fleming and Fuglestad, who just managed to push Johnson wide. We understand that Victor Segura had a knee in the chest and may well have cracked some ribs. He's been taken off to hospital for precautionary x-rays. But that will be another blow for Norwich, who are so short of cover in the centre of defence. Here's Johnson. Now Petter, who's found some room. Kenton, who came across and did well to charge the cross down. John Kirkby, the referee, has been called over by the assistant official on this near side, Trevor Strain. He's having a quiet word with him about something which he clearly saw on the far side. And now David Johnson is being called over. It's a yellow card for David Johnson. Something which had gone on off the ball. Oh, it's an effort for Ewan Roberts, and it's come back off the post. That was incredible. Richard Wright, who was being closed down very, very quickly by Craig Bellamy. He tried to hook the ball crossfield towards Jamie Clapham, but Ewan Roberts had read the situation perfectly, and he was in like a flash then. The shot was arching towards goal, and that was a real let-off for Ipswich Town and Richard Wright. Richard Wright then had a look up, saw that Jamie Clapham was the best option, but Ewan Roberts got in ahead of him, and that was desperately close for Norwich. It's a chance here as Petter comes in, and Andy Marshall grabs lightning quick then Bobby Petter. Was first off the mark, sharpest off the mark to take full advantage of the through ball from Mauricio Tirico. Into the last minute of normal time. Here's Venus. Will Norwich City end a run of 3 successive away league defeats with a win here at Portman Road? Foul by Adams. Here's Petter. He's away from Kenton this time. There's a poor cross. There was a hurried cross, and it sums up Ipswich Town's night. Eadie with the acceleration to take on Tirico. Hefty challenge by Mauricio Tirico. Darren Eadie happy to stay down for the time being. Tirico claims that he took the ball. And that was a crazy reaction. A crazy reaction by Darren Eadie. But it's still very tense out there. Ipswich searching for an equaliser. Ewan Roberts back to help out in his own penalty area. Here's David Johnson. Still Ipswich can't find a way through. And it was Tirico's effort which was well held by Andy Marshall. Right at the death, Ipswich coming close to snatching a point. It was a good effort by Tirico. It wasn't easy for Andy Marshall, who saw the ball through a blur of bodies. But Craig Bellamy's goal for Norwich City after 6 minutes of the second half has settled the East Anglian derby. It's Norwich City's first win at Portman Road since their final year in the Premiership. It's Ipswich Town 0, Norwich City 1.
Tremendous evening it is for Norwich City, Craig.
Absolutely, you know, we were disappointing on Saturday, you know, especially in our defending. It starts from the front as well, in my defending, but you can see the defending tonight. The lads, you know, they showed everything. You know, we were under pressure as well, because these are a good team. There's no doubt about it, Ipswich are a great team. But we've battled, you know, we could have played better at times, but you don't win every game by playing, you just got to grind results out, and that's what we've done today.
Yeah, terrific night for the fans, isn't it? Because they suffered a 5-0 dropping back there. just had your shorts removed there, but giving the fans another treat. But has been good for them tonight, hasn't it?
That's right. It's all about them. I mean, we lost 5-0 here last year, which was terrible, you know. And a 1-0 victory. We've not won here for 5 or 6 years, I think the lads were saying in there. So it's a great win. It's important that we bounce back.
We didn't play the best at times, but it's always going to be a hard game. They're flying at the minute. We didn't manage to get our noses in front, but I thought it was a terrific goal, good move and everything like that. And we knew it was going to be hard. They were going to throw everything at us, being down here. And defended well. Lee Marshall and Craig Bellamy to a centre house after Victor and after fantastic. They're really brilliant. And I think we thoroughly deserved it in the end.
The game was played at 100 miles an hour. But I thought the second half we really took the game to Norwich, and it's unfortunate, you know, we didn't see a good deal of Craig Bellamy tonight, but he pops up the winner, and that's a sign of a good player.
No, second half we've completely dominated the match. When you don't score it, you know, people start saying, well, why didn't you score? You know, and there was one or two things as far as final balls, finishing, hitting the post, keeper same, scrimmages, clearance off the line. Second half we wanted it.
It's a good victory for the club, and it's a good victory for all associated with the club, because we know how important local derbies are, whether they're Norfolk, Suffolk, you know, Birmingham, Villa, Liverpool, Everton. They're all important to the people that are associated with them, and you know, I'm obviously pleased that we've got the victory, and pleased for the Norwich people who were here tonight, Carrow Road watching the game, and generally all over there in Norfolk. So yeah, good victory.
Well, there we are. What about that? Bit of a turn-up for the books, or was it? Let's ask our guests tonight, Alan Brazil and Brian Gunn. First of all, Brian, your assessment of tonight?
Yeah, I mean, a gutsy performance from the lads there, especially after losing their last 2 away games. To go into local derby on the back of a 5-1 defeat is difficult, but probably a good game for them to get back into, and they showed a lot of determination, a lot of application and good attitudes, and never say die. They were throwing themselves in front of shots at the end there, and that's the sort of determination I think Bruce Reid would have asked for before the game. OK, Alan, how often have we seen this? I mean, on current form, beaten 5 on Saturday, Ipswich going well. How often have we seen a game sort of turn the form book on its head? Well, that's what derbies are all about. You know, you looked at the Norwich side before kick-off and you thought, phew, you know, it doesn't look the strongest on paper, especially in the midfield area. And yet, I thought Norwich were slightly the better side first half. I thought they looked as if they wanted it more. They were quicker to the ball. George was saying there, the final ball, yeah, I agree. When Ipswich did get it wide, final ball, you know, was quite poor. So overall, you know, I think George must have had a go at half-time, because Ipswich came out firing. For the first 9 minutes, you know, really got stuck in. But you mentioned the first half and the chances. I mean, give us your view of the chance with Ewan Roberts, with, it seemed, the goal at his mercy. Good move. Yeah, this is a great ball from Fuglestad. Edie, a smashing cross, and Ewan really has just got to let it hit his head, I think. You know, I wouldn't blame the goalkeeper there, because there's a lot of pace in the ball from Darren Edie. But Ewan, for me, has just got to let it hit his head, and it must go in. And I think he tries to just sort of punch it in and mistimes it. Although Brian was saying maybe he could see the white post coming towards him. But it was a glorious opportunity. That should have been the opening goal, but a great move. Fair to say, chances either end. Yes, that's right. I mean, Ipswich didn't stand back then, they went forward, and I think it was Andy Marshall pulling off a great save from Matt Holland. That's right, we can see it, yeah. You know, he's on his game last season and player of the season for Ipswich, but he's got himself into position there. A great shot and terrific save, and you know, Andy obviously on the back of the 5 goals on Saturday would like to see that one go past the post, but terrific save from Andy there. I think a lot of Norwich people, Kevin, will say, oh, we missed Kieran Dyer. And there's no doubt Kieran's ability. Ipswich people. Excuse me, Ipswich people. With his running ability with the ball, his little 1-2s. And saying that, I thought Lee Marshall for Norwich first half was excellent. You know, he was really up for it. He was winning tackles. He was playing the ball.
good passing. And at half-time, there's no doubt Bruce Rioch would have been happy with the managers.
Just before half-time, I think it was, Craig Bellamy burst through. We've seen him put these away quite a few times this season.
Yeah, Ewan Roberts slips him a nice ball through. I just felt Craig, he probably doesn't realise how quick he is. And he gets away from Clapham and Mowbray. I thought he could have maybe taken another touch and then picked his spot. But it's textbook stuff. He goes for the far post across the goalkeeper, but he gets away here and no one's going to catch him. He is very, very fast. You can see Clapham getting back. Mowbray's just inside. Right foot doesn't catch it properly. He just cuts it, going for the far post, and you know, he just gets his foot round it too much.
But Brian, he's having some season, not just for Norwich, but Wales as well.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I've watched the game down at Carrow Road tonight, and I saw a lot of the goals that Craig scored, and terrific goals, terrific finishing, and some of the goals scored like that tonight. But to cap it off with a goal for Wales, you know, terrific. But here we go, it's Darren Eadie breaking forward from the midfield position, and he knows that Eric Fuglestad's out wide. It's a weighted pass, and it's a terrific first-time cross, and it's Craig Bellamy who reacts the quickest. The two centre-halves are looking at each other and expecting probably Richard Wright to come out and claim that, but it's Bellamy darts in there in front of the two of them, and it's a terrific finish.
It's good play from Eadie, isn't it? You know, he takes the ball with pace. But the two centre-halves are there, they're watching the ball, and Bellamy gets between them. You can see, you know, Mowbray holding his head. Venus is behind him. Look at Mowbray watching the ball. This is a top-class ball into the box. And Bellamy says, thank you very much, runs in between them. Goalkeeper's coming out, but I think the delivery is excellent from Fuglestad.
But what you're saying is you're a little bit surprised that he managed to nip in there in front of two defenders and a goalkeeper.
A bit surprised and very disappointed.
Okay.
You know, I think one of the centre-halves should deal with that.
But the action continued to flow thick and fast. That was what, before the hour there. And again, end-to-end. And Ipswich not really on form in front of goal, which Scowcroft and Johnson, they've made a habit of banging them away. A little bit unlucky here, though.
That's right. I mean, it's a great delivery into the box there, and it's Scowcroft just gets in front of the defender, and it thumps back off the post. I mean, it could have went anywhere, really. Could have went back into play and maybe in off the post. But I think Norwich has deserved that little bit of luck tonight. They all worked hard. Defending was terrific. I thought that Craig Fleming and Victor Zagura, when he was on the park, didn't give Scowcroft or Johnson an inch of space tonight. They had a couple of half chances and snatched them, but I thought the defending was terrific.
But you consider no Malky Mackay and no Matt Jackson in there, which I guess would be Bruce Rioch's ideal pairing at the back.
Oh, well, probably, but you know, Bruce he'll be happy with what's happened tonight. It proves that he has got depth in his squad, and he can bring players in when there's injuries and suspensions, and hopefully, you know, that'll improve in the coming weeks, and Norwich will be able to sustain their challenge in the league.
Alan, before we move on, we must just see Ewan Roberts going very close in very different circumstances just before the end.
Yeah, I think he's unlucky here, but for me there was a misunderstanding all night between the two Ipswich centre-halves and the goalkeeper. Richard Wright's under pressure there, and that's very unlucky. You know, he's a long way outside the box, hits the post, but still he reacts the quickest. OK, his ball to Bellamy at the far post, not quite, you know, not good enough, but the first effort I thought was excellent. Richard tried to get the ball out his feet, doesn't get it clear, Bellamy pressing, but this is good play. Right foot on, you know, on the volley, first time. Very, very unlucky.
And typically, as we saw, Ipswich went up the other end, and it might have been a costly miss and a 1-1. But just to round up the game, Victor Segura, I'm glad to say, not as bad as first feared, bruised ribs. So, as I say, not quite as bad as first feared there. So he's OK. Norwich take the honours this evening. Satisfying and worth the trip, I suppose it's fair to say, Brian.
Yeah, it's right. Great to see the lads in action again. And obviously it was going to be a difficult game for them, as I think Ewan Roberts mentioned. They hadn't won there for a few years. And as I say, going on the back of a 5-0 defeat, probably confidence wasn't at its best. But Bruce Rioch and Brian Hamilton have obviously worked wonders in the dressing room and got the spirit right. And, you know, they'll all be happy down at Carrow Road tonight. OK, well, it's been a busy night in the First Division. I think we can now see the rest of the results this evening in the nationwide Division 1. Birmingham 1, Swindon 1. Bolton 1, Watford 2. Bit of a surprise there. Late goal from Kennedy. Bury winning 1-0 against Oxford. 3-2 to Palace at Selhurst Park today. Palace going very well. 3 wins out of 4 for them. And beating Wolves there. Grimsby 2, Bristol City 1. And elsewhere, well, we're just seeing Ipswich Norwich. Port Vale 1, Crewe 0. Port Vale beginning to find some form now. Bradford 4-2 winners at Portsmouth. 1-1 Sheffield United against Stockport. Ipswich played there on Saturday. And Tranmere also getting it together now, winning 3-0 against Barnsley. And at the top of the table now, well, it's pretty close, I think it's fair to say. Huddersfield are still top. Ipswich had a chance to go second, but missed out tonight. And Norwich City just creeping onto the caption in 11th place. Worth pointing out that Norwich play Huddersfield
at Carrow Road on Saturday. If Norwich were to win that game, they would be 3 points behind with 2 games in hand. So incredibly close there in Division 1.